6 months have passed since the near destruction of Konohagakure, the village hidden in the leaves. Two figures stood at the center of that tragedy, forever remembered in completely different ways. Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, laid down his life to stop the rampaging Nine Tails, sealing his place in history as the village's greatest hero. On the other side, however, lay the burden placed on a child, Naruto Uzumaki. Barely 6 months old, he became the vessel of the Kyuubi, the prison for the beast everyone feared. From the moment he drew breath, the blonde child was branded a monster. Fear, hatred, and cruelty were all he received, attacks that sometimes came close to ending his life. And how do I know all of this, when the third Hokage decreed that the boy's heritage would remain hidden, and speaking of the truth was punishable by death? Simple, I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the greatest of the tailed beasts. And though I am trapped within this tiny body, my mind is as sharp and awake as ever. Unlike others of my kind, I stayed conscious through the ceiling, feeling the dreadful presence of the Shinigami itself. Even I, who feared nothing, trembled before that god of death. Minato Namikaze earned my respect in that moment. Though he is gone, I have passed that respect to his son, my unwilling host. 6 months have gone by, and already I have had to mend wounds no child should endure. Burns, broken bones, punctured organs, shattered chakra pathways, even blades through his heart. Each scar repaired by my chakra, each attempt on his life erased by my power. But today I begin something different. If I must keep him alive to ensure my survival, then I will not just heal him, I will make him better. They break his bones, I rebuild them stronger. They damage his sight, I sharpen it beyond what it once was. They destroy, I improve. From now on, every attempt to harm him will become fuel to make him into something greater. So leave me be, for I have work to do, and if either of us is to survive, I cannot falter. Years later, the fools of this village never stop. Again and again, they strike at the boy, thinking him a stand-in for me. They cannot distinguish between a scroll that seals a beast and a child carrying that burden. Their ignorance is almost amusing, but their cruelty has only given me the excuse to refine my host. His bones. Hardened, impossible to break by anyone without chakra. His skin, resistant like armor. And my greatest accomplishment so far, thanks to the repeated attacks of the Uchiha, I have studied their eyes and gifted him a fragment of their legacy. Naruto can now mimic techniques, though he must still train to master them. I am a demon, yes, but I will not hand him everything. Power is nothing without struggle. As I fought for my strength, so too must he. They stole his hearing, I remade it sharper than before. They scrambled his mind with injury, I reforged it, making him near genius. They will reap what they have sown, of that I swear. And now, I prod at something deeper, something buried within his blood. His mother's gift, a dormant bloodline I intend to awaken. Dense, heavy chakra, the Kachaku line. A perfect tool, one that will serve as his weapon and in time my path to freedom. Call it repayment for all I've given him. In just a few more years, I will meet him face to face. I will push him toward the path of a shinobi. And then, my part will be done. The rest will be his to carry. 3 years later, Naruto/it was the day of the village festival, his birthday. As usual, Naruto had been told to stay indoors. The unfairness gnawed at him. Why couldn't he celebrate like everyone else? Sure, the villagers always tried to hurt him, but lately, their blows didn't seem to cut as deep. He didn't know why, but he was glad for it. At 6 years old, he wasn't stupid. He knew the names they called him: monster, demon, filth. He taught himself to read, to count money, to survive alone in the apartment the old man had given him. But today, he had enough. "Screw it, I'm going," he muttered, locking the door and slipping into the night. He wandered through the streets, watching festival stalls, staring at the stuffed dolls of the yondaime hanging proudly. For a moment, he felt like a normal child, until they saw him, a group of drunken villagers. Shouts rose instantly: "Kill the demon! Finish what the fourth started!" Stones and kunai rained down as the mob surged after him. Smaller than them, Naruto weaved through the crowd, but not unscathed. Blood ran down his face, bruises darkened his skin. Then he collided with someone. A tall man with black hair and crimson eyes, the Sharingan. "Disgusting creature," the man spat, his fingers weaving signs. Naruto's eyes burned, and then fire consumed him. Pain ripped a scream from his throat, only for it to be smothered by a sudden wave of water. Screams filled the air, but not his own, other people's. Arms caught him, strong yet gentle, and then nothing but darkness. "Boy, come to me!" The voice echoed through a tunnel as Naruto opened his eyes. No pain, only the strange glow of light ahead. His small feet carried him forward, guided by the deep, rumbling call. He entered a chamber with massive bars, and behind them, a beast of glowing red. "Kyuubi," Naruto whispered. The fox chuckled, lowering its head to meet the boy's gaze. "Yes and no. Alive yet bound. Your fourth Hokage sealed me inside you. It was the only way to defeat me. 6 years I have been here, trapped. But in that time, I have kept you alive. Every wound, every scar, they would have killed you, but I healed you. And each time I made you stronger." Naruto stumbled back, trying to process it. The very demon everyone said was evil had been helping him. "I can hear your thoughts," the fox rumbled darkly, amused by the boy's confusion. "But listen carefully. You will learn to be a shinobi. You will master chakra, because yours is greater than almost anyone's. The seal forces my energy into you, but I have spent too much power keeping us alive. Now it is your turn. My chakra will still heal you, but I must rest." The fox yawned, curling up. "In time, you will repay my kindness. Until then, speak of me to no one. Train, grow, and become a true shinobi. None of their foolish tricks. Use my gifts wisely." With a flick of his tail, he sent Naruto drifting back into the tunnel. World Hokage's office, 2 old men sat in quiet discussion, the unconscious blonde boy resting nearby. "He's 6 now, sensei. If we begin soon, he'll be ready for the academy. Even without Minato's legacy, his mother's clan still has much to offer him," said Jiraiya, his arms crossed. The third Hokage sighed, the weight of leadership heavy in his eyes. "Not yet. He will not learn their secrets until he earns the rank of genin. That is final." He raised a hand to silence Jiraiya's protest. "But if the boy wishes it, we can at least allow him to begin training on his own." The old man leaned back, the burden of years pressing down, as both teacher and student turned their eyes toward the boy who carried the fate of the 9 tails. "That's all well and good, but what will those basics do for him the next time he's ambushed like this?" Jiraiya snapped, frustration bleeding into his tone. He hated that the council's grip and his own obligations had kept him from taking the boy under his wing sooner. At the very least, let him train in fundamental taijutsu and sealing. It'll sharpen his focus, his reflexes, his control, and it'll finally give him a way to defend himself. Sarutobi leaned back in his chair, shoulders slumping under the weight of guilt. He knew he was failing Naruto by clinging to the illusion of a normal childhood. After a long sigh, he relented. "When he wakes, we'll ask him if he wants to learn. If he refuses, we'll let the matter drop. But if he accepts, then I'll allow him to study sealing, taijutsu, and the basics. No more, no less. Now let's get him clean clothes and a decent meal." With that decision, the 2 men stepped out, leaving what they assumed was a sleeping boy stretched out on the couch. But Naruto wasn't asleep. His mind was spinning, struggling to process the truth about the 9 tails sealed within him. He clenched his fists, whispering to himself, "Like hell I won't be a ninja. Even he wants me to walk this path." Opening his eyes, he sat up stiffly and scanned the familiar office. He'd spent plenty of time here, sometimes recovering, sometimes just talking with the old man. But today, something stood out. "That shelf wasn't here before," he muttered. Curiosity pushed him to his feet. His fingers brushed over a massive scroll hidden among the books. He pulled it free and unrolled it. The forbidden scroll of Konoha contained within are jutsu far too dangerous for ordinary shinobi. Naruto's eyes gleamed as he read. "Ordinary, huh? Guess that means it's perfect for me. I won't stay average. I'll surpass them all, whether they help me or not." For all the hatred, only the fox had ever guided him, even if it was for its own reasons. He bent over the scroll again. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, a high-ranked technique. Creates solid clones capable of interacting with their surroundings and using the chakra allotted to them. Can serve as training tools, scouts, and spies, with their knowledge returning to the user upon dispelling. Warning. Chakra is divided between user and clones. Sudden knowledge return can harm the user if not carefully managed." Naruto grinned. "Perfect, just what the furball hinted at." He memorized the seals, eyes gleaming with excitement. As he started to roll it back up, another entry caught his attention. Chakra threads known as chakra strings, typically used to control weapons or retrieve objects. At full potential, however, they can seize control of another being by invading their chakra flow. With focus, threads may also substitute for wires or be shaped into tools, limited only by imagination. Warning: forcing chakra into another living being risks dangerous feedback. The stronger will can overwhelm the weaker. This I can use. He absorbed the instructions, noting the absence of hand signs. It was all about raw control, dangerous but worth it. He committed the method to memory, carefully replaced the scroll, and hurried back to the couch just as the door creaked open. The Hawkage returned with Jirya, both carrying fresh clothes and food. "Ah, Naruto, you're awake," Sarutobi said kindly, setting the tray down. "I'm disappointed, my boy. I told you to stay inside tonight, and yet you slipped out." Naruto dug into the food, muttering between bites. "But Gigi, it was my birthday. Why should I stay cooped up?" He swallowed hard, his thoughts echoing. "Even if I know why now." Real food, he admitted, made even his beloved ramen pale in comparison. "I understand your feelings," the old man said softly, "but I must ask you something important." His eyes flicked briefly to Jirya. "You don't have to answer now, but would you like to become a ninja?" Naruto froze mid-bite, then beamed. "Of course, hell yeah, old man." Jirya chuckled at the sight of the boy's enthusiasm. It was almost poetic. The son of those two could only ever chase the shinobi path, and with a little push from him, Naruto wouldn't just walk it, he'd dominate it. "Are you certain?" Sarutobi pressed. At Naruto's eager nod, the Hawkage pulled out several scrolls. "Then you must work hard. You've got 3 years before the academy. Until then, study these on your own." He laid them down one by one. Chakra control exercises, codes of conduct, basic weapons, and physical training. "And this last one," he said with a sigh, "is taijutsu. It belonged to your mother. Place your blood on the seal and it will reveal itself to you." Naruto's grin widened. "This is amazing. I'll become the greatest ninja out there. Better than you, Gigi." The two older men exchanged a knowing smile. They'd heard those words before from another bright-eyed blonde. "And finally," Sarutobi added, "Jirya has something else for you. He'll explain." Naruto's apartment hours later, Jirya leaned back in his chair after running Naruto through the basics of training and chakra weights. He handed over a thick sealing scroll labeled Fuinjutsu. "This has everything I know about seals. Study it step by step. Don't rush, botched seals are disasters, trust me," Naruto yawned. "I'll start tomorrow, too tired now. Thanks for the new clothes though, wish they were orange." Not really, he thought, smirking inwardly. Looking over the pile of scrolls, he knew it would take years to even scratch the surface. But with Cage Bunshin, he had a shortcut. That would stay his secret for now. "Good brat, I'll be back in 3 years. Impress me and I'll teach you more," Jirya said, stretching as he stood. "And remember, always keep those weights on. Only take them off if you're completely outmatched." He tugged up his sleeve, revealing his own set. "I haven't needed to remove mine in years." With a laugh, he vaulted out the window, leaving Naruto alone with his new path. Next day the blonde sat cross-legged, unrolling the Taijutsu scroll. His grin stretched wide. "This style is perfect. I'll have to adjust my training, though." He noticed how different it was from Jirya's program. Where Jirya focused on brute muscle, this style demanded balance, strength, speed, and flexibility in equal measure. Too much muscle slowed you down. Naruto nodded. This would make him stronger than anyone. He set it aside and devoured the Shinobi Code scroll, committing it all to memory, even the contradictions. The fox's influence had gifted him an eidetic recall, and he wasn't complaining. Finally, he turned to chakra control. Dry, dull, almost sleep-inducing text, but important. Tier 1, Academy Low Genin Leaf Balance Kunai Balance Senbin Balance Tier 2. Chunin/Jonin Tree, Walking Water Walking Air Pads Tier 3. Medic Level Pooling Shaping Converting Elemental, Chunin/Jonin, Leaf. See individual elements for specialization. Naruto touched the first seal and felt his chakra tug, unlocking hidden notes on the leaf exercise. He smirked. "Smart move, old man. Locks the advanced stuff until I'm ready. Guess I'll start from the bottom." He rolled up his sleeves, determination burning in his eyes. "Once I master these, I'll show them all." Year later, in the quiet of his apartment, a small blonde boy sat cross-legged on the wooden floor, deep in concentration. Tiny needles stood upright on his skin as if drawn to him by an unseen force. Slowly, more needles rose, sticking out from different points of his body until he resembled a strange, shimmering porcupine. A faint blue glow coated them, proof that they weren't piercing his flesh but were instead being suspended by his chakra. One by one, the needles drifted upward, connected to him through almost invisible threads of energy. After mastering the first stage of his training, Naruto had thrown himself into practicing chakra threads. The exercise not only improved his control, but forced him to manage multiple focuses at once. It turned out he had far more chakra than he'd ever imagined, an amount that seemed to increase each day. On top of this, he had taken a serious interest in Fuinjutsu. Every day he devoured at least one sealing scroll, then spent an extra hour reviewing what he had studied so the knowledge stuck. In addition, he dedicated 2 hours to improving his brushwork, since seals required flawless writing, 3 hours to physical conditioning, and 3 more to chakra exercises. Eating, sleeping, and a small bit of downtime filled the rest of his schedule. That had become Naruto's life for the past year, and he didn't regret a single second of it. When the last needle floated down, Naruto allowed himself a small smile. Finally, Tier 1 complete. His chest swelled with pride. He hoped that when the Kyuubi eventually woke, the beast would acknowledge his progress. It was pathetic that the only companion he had was the very demon sealed inside him, but Naruto wasn't about to dwell on loneliness. He was too focused on training and bettering himself. He believed that when the academy began in 2 years, everything would change. He unrolled the scroll to the next stage, excitement buzzing in his veins. This part involved training along the walls and ceiling, which he could do indoors without prying eyes. A thought struck him, and he spoke to the empty room. What if I mastered tree walking and then redo Tier 1 at the same time? Splitting my focus like that would make me improve even faster. He grinned to himself. The challenge sounded perfect. Year later, by 8 years old, Naruto's body already reflected the fruits of his relentless training. Shirtless in an abandoned training ground at the village's edge, his lean frame glistened with sweat. His physique wasn't bulky like Jiraiya had once imagined for him, but sharp, defined, and flexible, like a predator ready to strike. Standing nearly 5 feet tall, with his golden hair tied back in a band and his bangs framing his face, he moved through the Uzumaki fighting forms with feline grace. 6 months earlier, the Uchiha clan had been wiped out. While most whispered rumors and lies, Naruto only cared about one thing, that the person who had saved him from Uchiha torment more than once had been the one to slaughter them. Itachi. To Naruto, Itachi was a savior, not a monster, and that fact fueled his determination to become stronger. Of course, none of this was visible to the outside world. To the villagers, Naruto was still the noisy, clueless prankster. The mask served him well, letting him observe unnoticed, eavesdrop, and study. He had discovered he could copy jutsu, not instantly like the Sharingan, but through study and repetition. Nothing came to him easily, so he poured his heart into every ounce of progress. As his body flowed through the katas, his shadow clones were scattered across the training ground, working on different tasks. One group practiced the air step technique, a method of forming footholds in the air. Few shinobi bothered with it, skipping straight to higher techniques, but Naruto insisted on mastering every step. Another group experimented with new seals. From studying his own containment seal, he had designed an array that could divide his chakra into 2 equal reserves, complete with mirrored pathways. If it worked, one reserve would carry the Kyuubi's corrupted energy, while the other would remain purely his own. Finishing the last kata, Naruto sat down and caught his breath, sweat trailing down his back. Pulling out his final sealing scroll, he began memorizing it. Once complete, he would rival even Jiraiya in theoretical sealing knowledge. But learning wasn't enough. Naruto wanted to innovate, to create, to push the art beyond its limits. As the sun dipped low, Naruto's meditation was interrupted by a faint whimper. Opening his eyes, he spotted a small, silver-furred creature stumbling toward him, leaving drops of blood in its wake. His heart clenched. Rising slowly, he approached and spoke softly. "Easy there, I'm not going to hurt you." Cradling the tiny fox kid in his arms, Naruto saw fresh bite wounds across its body. Alone, wounded, and defenseless. If he left it, it would die. His mind was made up instantly. He would save it. Maybe even raise it as a partner, the way the Inuzuka raised their Ninken. He handed off orders to his clones, finish up and dispel. One of you take everything back to the apartment, before sprinting toward the Inuzuka compound with the bleeding kit in his arms. Veterinary office Naruto pushed open the door, clutching the fox. "Excuse me, I need help," he called, voice edged with worry. A girl a few years older than him entered, flanked by 3 nindogs. She looked around 14 and gave him a curious look. "What's going on? I'm Hana, by the way." Naruto carefully set the kit on the counter. "I found him like this. He's hurt bad. I don't want him to die." His eyes glistened with unshed tears, his voice thick with urgency. Hana's expression softened. She rushed forward, her hands glowing faintly green as she assessed the wounds. After a few minutes she exhaled. "Most of the damage is healed. I'll give you some antibiotics and supplements. They're meant for dogs, but they should work fine. Only side effect might be that he grows bigger than usual." She chuckled lightly at Naruto's relieved sigh. "Bring him back in a month for a checkup," she added. "I'd like to study how the medicine affects him." Naruto's head dipped. I don't have money to pay you." Hana waved him off. "Don't worry about it. I'll count it as practice for me, and you're helping me study a rare animal. Plus, I don't mind helping out someone with a good heart." Naruto's grin returned as he lifted the kit. "Sharuba," he whispered. "That'll be his name." Hana smiled. "It suits him. Keep him safe." Months later in his small apartment, Naruto sat cross-legged, body covered in glowing glyphs as Sharuba dozed nearby. His last clone checked over the ceiling array one final time. "Boss, everything looks right. Just be ready. It's gonna hurt. A lot." Naruto already knew. He placed his hands on the activation seal and poured in chakra. Instantly, the array flared bright blue, the lines burning into his skin before sinking inside. Pain ripped through him as his chakra pathways tore and reformed, splitting into 2 separate systems. One filled with a corrupted purple hue from the Kyuubi, the other pure, dark blue his own. Naruto clenched his fists through the agony, a grin breaking through the pain. He had done it. Everything unfolded in an instant, and Naruto's vision cleared as the last of the sealing script melted into his skin before fading away. His eyes snapped open, and he let out a rough groan. "Well," he muttered, causing Sharuba to perk up at his voice, "that actually worked better than I expected. But no chakra until tomorrow. Anyway, it's time you visit Hanani-chan." The small silver fox barked happily and bounded toward him. "You know, I think you like her more than me," Naruto chuckled, grinning as the little creature licked his cheek. Taking the back alleys to avoid unwanted attention, the boy and his companion made their way to Hana's clinic. Naruto pushed the door open. "Hana, Sharuba and I are here," he called, loud enough to be heard in the back. Her triplet Ninken dashed out first, barking before tugging Hana into the room. "Well, you've returned," she greeted warmly, smiling as Naruto set Sharuba down on the counter. She quickly performed a diagnostic scan, her hands glowing with chakra, then jotted down notes in a scroll she kept specifically for the kit. "He's developing faster than normal. The medicine helped, but I can tell he spends a lot of time near you when you're using chakra," Hana observed, her tone more factual than questioning. Naruto only nodded. He had long since learned that interrupting her often earned him a solid right hook. "I didn't think I'd ever say this, but," Hana smirked, intrigued, "he's turning into a ninfox." Her amusement quickly shifted into seriousness. "You'll need to channel chakra into him deliberately to finish the bond between you. Just focus on the 2 of you becoming one. It'll help stabilize him. Oh, and here." She handed Naruto 3 small pills, 1 per week. "By the time they're gone, so will the process. Bring him back then so I can check the results." She winked playfully. 3 weeks later, the final day of Hana's instructions had come. For the last 21 days, Naruto had dedicated nearly every waking hour to pouring chakra into Sharuba, usually until he passed out. It wasn't exactly pleasant, but Hana had told him to give as much as possible, and he had obeyed. By now, the sheer amount of energy transferred could have fueled an entire village. As he let the last of his reserves flow into the fox, Naruto noticed the changes. Sharuba had grown noticeably larger and sturdier, his body adapting just as Naruto's had. All they had done for 3 weeks was eat, bathe, sleep, and focus on this bond. It was exhausting, but somehow satisfying. The strain finally overcame them both. As Naruto drifted into unconsciousness, dark blue chakra seeped out, enveloping them before sinking deep into their bodies. The next morning, Naruto awoke to excited yips. His eyes widened, the one small fox now stood as large as a full-grown one. "Hana-chan, let's go!" Shiruba barked in words Naruto could understand. Naruto blinked in surprise, raising an eyebrow. "Calm down, Shiruba. Breakfast and a shower first." "Sure thing, Tusan." Naruto nearly stumbled. "Tusan, Dad?" He shook his head, deciding not to dwell on it, and fixed a quick meal before washing up. Later, they arrived at Hana's office. She scanned Shiruba as usual while Naruto tried not to laugh. "Hana-chan's thinking too hard," Shiruba teased, making Naruto snicker. "What's so funny?" Hana asked, suspicious. Naruto grinned. "Shiruba says you're overthinking." Her eyes lit up. "Wait, you understand him that well?" She quickly scribbled notes, excitement shining on her face. "How much chakra did you give him daily?" Naruto scratched his cheek. "Outside of eating or sleeping, pretty much the entire time." Hana's jaw dropped. She scanned Naruto again, gasping when she saw the results. "Your reserves are enormous. You drain them every day." Naruto shrugged, not seeing the problem. "That's insane," she muttered, racing to her notes again. "You're at least 3 years ahead in your bond compared to anyone in my clan at your age. And he didn't just take your chakra, he adapted to it. If you two can learn to weaponize that energy together, you could invent your own techniques. Honestly, you might have just created the start of a new clan." Naruto laughed awkwardly. "I don't think I'm ready for grandkids yet." Hana tilted her head. "Why say that?" "Well, he calls me Tusan." She froze, then scribbled more notes furiously. "That explains the accelerated bond. But after today, you're on your own. Officially, I didn't help you with anything beyond keeping him healthy." Her ninkin growled softly, signaling her mother's growing suspicion. Naruto caught the meaning. "Got it. But I can still bring him for checkups or emergencies, right?" "Of course," she smiled. "Regular visits are 50 more if he needs treatment. That's safe enough to cover us." Naruto sighed softly. "Guess I'll only see you every couple of months then." He was disappointed. Hana had become something like a friend. A few months later, "All right, Shiruba, I'm going to give you the same seals I put on myself," Naruto explained, prepping his ink and brushes. "That way you can train like me." "Great, then I can start climbing trees too, right?" Shiruba barked excitedly. Naruto laughed. "Exactly, but remember it'll hurt and no chakra for a day afterward." After perfecting the seals on paper, he pressed them onto the fox. The ink glowed before sinking into Shiruba's fur and skin, chakra swirling around him. Naruto watched in fascination. Shiruba's aura resembled his own dark blue energy, except silver flecks shimmered within, unlike Naruto's crimson sparks. Once it was done, Naruto gave him a sedative to rest. Meanwhile, he studied scrolls with basic jutsu from every element. His chakra control was at a medical nin's level now, and Shiruba was close behind. He figured the best way to discover his natural element was to test each one. The two had already built a rhythm. Shiruba's taijutsu merged with Naruto's style seamlessly, using his muzzle, paws, and even his tail infused with chakra. Their shared creativity had even sparked ideas for seal-less techniques. Together, they were becoming something entirely new. The day before the academy started a message from the Hokage summoned Naruto and Shiruba to his office. Carrying copies of his scrolls, they hurried up the tower. "We're here, Jiji," Naruto greeted cheerfully, slipping inside. He wore his usual dark gray and blue clothing, the same colors he had stuck with for the past 3 years. The Hokage raised an eyebrow. Naruto looked far more mature than he remembered. What puzzled him more was the fox at his side. "Naruto, where did you get that?" "Oh, Shiruba, rescued him about a year ago. He's my ninfox now." With a small signal, Shiruba ran up the wall, flipped, and landed on Naruto's shoulder. The boy grinned foxily. "We've been training together non-stop." Right then, Jiraiya dropped through the window casually. "Well, the brat's here. Guess that means it's about that time, huh?" The Hokage nodded. "Yes, Naruto, we wanted to see just how far you've come, and if there's anything you want to focus on moving forward." Naruto grinned to himself. He had no intention of revealing everything he could do just yet. Things like his chakra threads or shadow clones were too valuable to show off casually. With those alone, He could manipulate all kinds of tools and weapons, especially after practicing with Senbin. Anyway, I can walk on trees and even water now. I also finished studying the sealing scrolls you left behind for me, Jiraiya-sama, he said proudly. That single statement left Jiraiya staring, his jaw hanging. The Hokage didn't immediately grasp how shocking that was. Naruto continued, I've also gone through every academy-level technique, and I picked up at least one D-rank jutsu for each element. His smile widened. Oh, and Sharuba's been training too. He's managed to channel chakra into his body and is already climbing trees. Jiraiya blinked. He had assumed the boy might have completed part of one scroll, not all of it. All right, brat, what's the most advanced seal you can actually make? Naruto's eyes sparkled. That would be my own, Uzumaki Fuinjutsu, double chakra vortex. He smirked, while Jiraiya just raised a brow, thinking the kid was exaggerating. Really now? Show me, Jiraiya said skeptically. Naruto pulled out a scroll with a neat sealing formula inscribed. It was designed to create an additional chakra reserve, something he had built just to see if it was possible. What surprised him most was the side effects. He could weave one-handed signs more easily and even direct two chakra-based techniques at once. He handed the scroll over without saying all that. Jiraiya studied the boy's handwriting, detailed notes, and explanations. His eyes widened. This was well beyond the average prodigy. In fact, it was close to outshining Minato himself. Kid, do you even realize what this seal can accomplish? Naruto shrugged. Yeah, I've already been using it, but I figured it could help anyone with a chakra illness or someone who constantly needs to give up chakra for a jutsu or bloodline. Could be life-saving. He didn't notice the Sanin's startled expression when he admitted he'd already applied it. Brat, why? Your reserves were already massive compared to most children your age, Jiraiya asked, baffled. Naruto looked away, lying smoothly. I noticed the Shinigami's seal on my stomach and how it kept leaking chakra into my reserves. It made control a nightmare. So I trained only one set of reserves and let the leaking chakra flow into a separate pool I could use later. That was when the Hokage finally caught on. Naruto, how long have you been aware of that seal? About 2 weeks after I started learning chakra control. Took another year to understand what it was doing. He let out a sigh. When I connected that with how the village treats me and remembered what beast attacked Konoha the night I was born, well, it wasn't hard to figure out. I'm holding the chakra of the 9 tails. His voice dripped with bitterness. Both men exchanged worried looks. Naruto cut them off before they could say anything. Save it. Nothing can change what's already been done. I can't undo it, and neither can you. I've got people who care about me, and that's enough. He forced a small, sad smile. Anyway, I start classes tomorrow, so I'll need Sharuba officially registered as my companion. Also, his eyes flicked to Jiraiya. I wouldn't mind learning something new. Jiraiya glanced between the boy and the fox. Most of the older generation would despise a child raising such a creature, which honestly made it even sweeter in his mind. Perhaps it was a quirk of the Uzumaki bloodline that he took to sealing so quickly. Still, he had promised to teach the kid something if he impressed him. There are plenty of things I could show you, but most will have to wait until you're older. He reached into his pocket and handed Naruto a slip of chakra paper. Push your chakra into this. Let's see your affinity. Naruto pressed chakra into the paper. At first, nothing. Then the edges dampened and water spread through it before the paper split neatly down the middle. Crystalline fragments sprouted along the cut, covering the surface. Naruto raised a brow. Wind, water, and crystal, the Hokage smiled knowingly. You're correct about wind and water, but the crystals aren't ice. There's something else, what your mother once called kachaku, or dense chakra. It lets you condense chakra into near-solid form. Since you manifested it this early, you've already reached the second stage of the bloodline. That means you naturally use less chakra for techniques, but if you output the same as others, your jutsu will become far stronger, or clones could turn into actual doppelgangers instead of illusions. Naruto's jaw dropped. So basically, my jutsu are overpowered by default? Both men chuckled at his bluntness. Yes, but there's little recorded about this bloodline. All I know is what your mother once explained, Sarutobi said. Remember the leaf exercises in the scroll I gave you? Practice cutting one in half cleanly like this paper, and also try to cover it with water. While he spoke, Jiraiya dug through his bag and tossed Naruto 2 scrolls. Here, a couple of wind and water techniques I picked up on my travels. I can't use them well since my nature is fire and earth, but they're ranked and explained. Naruto smiled, rubbing Sharuba's fur. I'll master them too, right, Tusan? He thought fondly, petting the fox. Given my chakra control and reserves, C-rank jutsu are probably the highest I can handle now, right? The Hokage nodded approvingly. That's correct. But never underestimate lower-ranked jutsu. Sometimes they're more useful than flashy ones. He chuckled inwardly. If he grows this fast, maybe I'll finally retire. Sarutobai's expression grew more serious. Now we need to discuss something else. You know how the village has treated you because of the seal. Unfortunately, many of your classmates, and even instructors, will do the same, even without knowing the truth. Jiraiya took over. What he means, kid, is that they'll mess with you. Teach you wrong on purpose. Refuse to help. Maybe even make your exams harder or grade you unfairly. So you've got 3 choices. 1, we let you attend as you are, but you'll come here once a month for proper exams and skill checks. 2, we disguise you, let you go in as someone else. Or 3, you face them head-on, no help from us. Naruto glanced at Sharuba. He knew the fox wouldn't leave his side, and its growing intelligence gave him plenty of new seal ideas. With a small grin, he made his choice. I'll tough it out. Besides, Jiji, that book you gave me said deception is a shinobi's strongest tool, and the mind is the sharpest weapon. He crossed his arms. The only thing I need is access to the library without being thrown out. The Hokage sighed and smiled. Very well. When you need to study, use mine. And Asuma can help you as well, he's a wind user like you. All right then. But you mentioned another reason you wanted me here? Naruto asked, Sharuba barking in agreement. Sarutobai's expression turned grim. Yes, we suspect one of your future instructors might harbor more than simple resentment toward you. We won't tell you who. Your task will be to observe carefully and report back. Think of it as a mission. You'll remain in the academy for 4 years, even if you could pass earlier. That means failing the graduation test twice. Naruto paused, thinking it over, while the 2 elders waited for his decision. Naruto had been turning it over in his mind. If he kept up the act of being the dead last, then sooner or later he'd be stuck with either another genius or someone who had clawed their way into becoming one. On top of that, because of his unusual start, he would end up being a year older than the rest of his teammates when they finally graduated. He finally spoke, voice firm but edged with caution. I'll go through with this, but only if you swear I won't end up on the Uchiha's team, no matter how the class rankings fall or what any teacher requests. That demand made the Hokage freeze, clearly caught off guard. The old man had secretly hoped Naruto would be paired with Sasuke. Kakashi especially would not be pleased, since that was the arrangement that convinced him to take Sasuke under his wing in the first place. Why are you against it? Hiruzen asked at last. Naruto let out a bitter laugh. Most of the people who have beaten me down over the years were Uchiha, and honestly, I don't need them copying all of my hard work with those damn eyes of theirs. Jiraiya nearly laughed out loud at how bluntly the blonde dismissed the clan everyone else bent over backwards to protect. Sarutobai, however, only sighed, knowing this was going to be a problem. Naruto was more advanced than most realized, and Kakashi's favoritism toward Sasuke would only make things worse. It would be a disaster waiting to happen. I'll do what I can, but if things don't go your way, is there anything else you'd want as compensation? Naruto glanced down at his hands for a moment, thinking. Make sure Sharuba is officially registered and treated like an Inuzuka's ninkin before I leave. That's non-negotiable. He smiled faintly at his fox companion before shifting his gaze back to Jiraiya and the Hokage. And I'll think of something else if it really comes to that. That eased the Hokage somewhat. Naruto had already accepted what was likely to happen. That much I can arrange. Since you're taking this mission, it will be marked as a long-term classified C rank. You'll be paid monthly, both you and Sharuba. Few outside the clan realized it, but Inuzuka partners were paid as ninja too, which explained why the family was wealthier than most suspected. Their meeting continued, drifting into talk of Naruto's recent progress, as they filled out paperwork officially recognizing Sharuba as a ninja fox. That had been Naruto's idea. Kitsune were far closer to chakra-using beings than ordinary animals, and legends suggested they could grow more tails over time. Testing Sharuba had shocked them both when the fox displayed affinities for lightning and water. As a precaution, they gave Naruto a scroll on lightning manipulation, warning him that misuse could kill his companion. When the boy finally left, only Jiraiya and the Hokage remained. Silence stretched before Jiraiya muttered, "Sensei, that kid, he's a mirror of his parents. One moment he's sharp and focused like Kushina, the next he's light-hearted like Minato. And with the 9 tails, nothing. No spikes, no outbursts, it's like the beast is dormant." He unfurled a toad-summoned scroll, the key to the seal, and pointed at the markings. "The chakra flows unchanged for years. He's still getting the fox's chakra, but it's like he's cut himself off from it." Digging out another scroll, Jiraiya's eyes widened. "This is insane." He built a reserve split seal. He only lets the fox's chakra into one pool while using his clean chakra in the other. Both grow, but one stays untouched by the fox. He even filters it, pulling his own chakra across when needed, but leaving the tainted stuff behind. The two men shared a rare moment of realization. His reserves, they're all his own. No crutch from the fox at all, Jiraiya murmured, tracing the ink. If I'm reading this right, he may have even split his coils into 2 interconnected systems. That would mean chakra exhaustion is almost impossible for him. On top of that, he can balance 2 completely different chakra flows without ruining his control. He leaned back, shaken. "I'll say it, this boy's genius outstrips even Minato's." Hiruzen wasn't a sealing master, but he understood enough to realize how monumental this was. He immediately had an ANBU summon Shibai Aburame to his office. When the clan head arrived, both men explained what they'd seen. Shibai studied the array carefully, his Kikaichu buzzing quietly as he conferred with his hive. After a long pause, he said flatly, "This would allow us to effectively double our chakra capacity by splitting it into 2 functioning reserves." "A tremendous advantage," Jiraiya nodded. "Exactly, and the boy designed it with someone like your clan in mind." Sarutobi added, "Naruto never asked for credit or payment. He just wanted the seal to be useful." After a moment of contemplation, Shibai inclined his head. "We accept this as a gift. The Aburame will honor him as one of our own. I'll see him tonight and inform him personally." That evening, Naruto was at home, tinkering with seal experiments as always. His apartment, once bare and broken, had been transformed with repaired furniture and clever sealing tricks that made the place cozy and alive. Even his plants thrived, thanks to self-watering tags. He was sketching out hand seal modifications for Sharuba when a knock sounded. With a wary glance, he activated the one-way seal on his door. Seeing only Shibai, he relaxed and opened it. "Aburame-sama," Naruto greeted cautiously. "Can I help you?" "I'd like to speak with you," Shibai said, his tone calm as ever. Naruto allowed him in, a clone preparing tea while Sharuba padded into the room, curling up on a chair. Once settled, Shibai spoke. "I came about the seal, the one you shared with the Hokage and Jiraiya." Naruto leaned back on the couch, eyes flicking to his fox before meeting Shibai's gaze. "Yeah, I made it with your clan in mind. I've seen the way you fight, and I don't think this village should rely on one bloodline alone, especially not the Uchiha. Too many clans get ignored because of that eye of theirs. I want Konoha strong, but strong because of everyone, not just one family." For a boy so young, his words carried a weight Shibai couldn't ignore. In silence, the clan head came to a decision. Tonight, Uzumaki Naruto would not only be recognized, but quietly welcomed into the Aburame as one of their own. Shibai listened intently, catching the sharp edge of bitterness in the boy's words. Beneath it, though, lay a wisdom no child should have been forced to carry. The truth was cruel. Naruto's life had been shaped by burdens no child should bear, yet the village pushed it onto him simply because of what lived inside. It reminded Shibai of his own clan, cast aside and feared for the creatures they carried. "I understand. Your reasoning is sound," Shibai said calmly, adjusting his glasses. "And with the seal placed on my clan, it provides stability for us. That is exactly why I came here today, to present an offer in return." Naruto opened his mouth, but Shibai raised a hand, silencing him. "Your goals are admirable. Still, this decision was not made lightly. My clan and I stand by it." He slipped a hand into the folds of his long coat and withdrew a gourd strapped to his side. "Because of what you've done for us, Naruto, you've earned a place among the Aburame. While you can't fully integrate with our Kikeichu, we want you to have this hive. He placed the gourd before Naruto, watching as the insects poured out, testing their new host. They'll need your chakra to live, Shibai explained. Normally, bonding begins when a child is 3. In your case, things are uncertain. Still, with your unusual condition, there's a chance they'll adapt. The result is unpredictable. Naruto bowed his head respectfully. Thank you, Shibai-sama. I'll treat them as the honor they are and as proof of the trust you've shown me. Already, Naruto planned to attempt bonding tonight. Shibai added, if you manage to form a proper connection, whether inside your body or outside, come to our compound. We'll need to observe what makes your case unique. Just then, another Naruto clone entered carrying a tray of tea. He quietly set it down before dispelling. Shibai arched a brow at this little display, cage bunshin, used so casually by a child, but said nothing. Given Naruto's abnormally large chakra reserves, it made sense. His Kikeichu had whispered that his energy was anything but ordinary. Naruto poured the tea, and the two spoke further. They discussed training, sanctuaries, and the idea of Naruto having a family of sorts. Shibai also mentioned that the Aburame ran several shops, where Naruto, as an honorary clan member, would always be treated fairly. For the first time in a while, Naruto felt the warmth of belonging. He smiled as he poured tea and spoke of the future. Academy, next day, the following morning marked both Naruto's first official day of class and the beginning of his mission. The night before had been grueling. Once Shibai left, Naruto began the bonding ritual with the hive. The results were complicated. Nearly half the insects perished, destroyed by the corrosive demon chakra inside him. The survivors were weakened, forced into a dormant state. What shocked him most was how their entry points healed instantly, sealing with chakra to leave his body untouched. The surviving Kikeichu now bred and rested within him, feeding off both his chakra and that of the 9 tails, warping to adapt. This process left him drained, but not helpless. For now, they couldn't leave his body. If they tried, they'd die. He'd have to wait until they evolved fully or faded away. Either way, it didn't trouble him much. By the time he arrived in class, Naruto looked calm, scanning the room. Students older than him filled the seats, many from clans. An Inuzuka boy with his ninkin gave him a sharp look, especially at Sharuba perched lazily across Naruto's shoulders. "What's that fox doing here?" the boy demanded. Naruto smiled easily. "He's my partner, just like your dog is yours, Inuzuka-san. Officially registered as my ninkitsune." His grin widened, his sharp canines showing, a trait that made him feel oddly similar to the Inuzuka. The boy snorted. "Keep dreaming. Me and Sumaru will pound you in your mutt and show you what a real companion looks like." Naruto shook his head, hiding his irritation. In his mind, Sharuba asked mischievously, "Want me to prank him, Tusan?" Naruto smirked to himself. Moments later, 2 instructors entered. "Settle down," one called out. "I am Yumino Uruka, your lead teacher. This is Mizuki, my assistant." Their eyes swept the room, stopping on Naruto. Uruka's gaze lingered on Sharuba, Mizuki's narrowed at Naruto himself. Neither spoke, but Naruto caught the hostility and filed it away. The lessons dragged. He already knew everything being taught, so he quietly worked on seals for Sharuba. If the Inuzuka proved as valuable as the Aburame, he might even share them, perhaps in exchange for veterinary care. Months rolled by. The routine remained the same: hostile glares, dull lessons, occasional sparring challenges. Naruto passed the time wisely, using clones to train at home or study advanced chakra control. His progress in sealing arts continued steadily. Despite this, his class ranking was at the bottom. He deliberately failed written exams tainted by genjutsu, and in taijutsu he stuck to his own style, ignoring the rigid forms taught. He'd shout bold claims about becoming the greatest ninja, or say nonsensical things to distract attention. Over time, most ignored him, except the Inuzuka, with whom he had an odd rivalry. Their spars gave Naruto insights, though his methods didn't mesh with Sharuba. Still, the experimentation benefited his research. By summer break, the Kikeichu inside him still hadn't stabilized. Naruto avoided visiting the Aburame compound until they did, though he often bought supplies from their shops. Each month he visited Hana Inuzuka at the veterinary clinic to check on Sharuba, especially now that the fox wore weight seals. One of Naruto's finished seals allowed Sharuba to speak. The first time Hana heard the fox say, "Thanks, Hana-chan," she nearly dropped her tools in shock. "He talked," she gasped. Naruto grinned. "Yeah, the seal reshapes his chakra into sound, turning his thoughts into words. I could give your dogs the same seals, though they'd need training to control it." Hana's eyes sparkled at the idea. If her triplets could speak, training and care would be easier. "I'll try it. If it works, maybe Mom would even buy the seal for our clan." Naruto pulled out a scroll, releasing 3 slips of paper. He pressed one to each dog's muzzle, channeling chakra. The seals flashed, then dissolved into the fur, becoming invisible. "There. Depending on their chakra, they should start speaking clearly in a few days," Naruto said, satisfied with the results. Hana beamed. "This could change everything for us. If this is just a sample of your work, our clan could benefit a lot." "They'll still understand their old language too," Naruto assured her. "This is just a tool. My next seal will go even further, letting them learn jutsu like us." He smirked at her stunned reaction. Before leaving, Hana promised to show her mother the results. Naruto just nodded, hiding a darker thought. His trust was reserved carefully. The Uchiha especially, he only respected Itachi. The rest he would never forgive. "Come on, Sharuba," Naruto said as they headed for the door. "But Tusan, I haven't trained as much as you," Sharuba whined, hopping onto his shoulder. Hana couldn't help but laugh as she waved them off. Outside, Naruto froze. Sharuba bristled too. The air carried a familiar scent. Narrowing his eyes, Naruto called out, "I know you're there, Tsumaru, Kuraba. We can both smell you." The pair from the Inuzuka team and their ninkins slipped around the corridor. "Darn it, Naruto, you're as impossible to sneak on as Mom," one of them grinned. Naruto returned the smile. "You either need to learn to mask your scent better or stop creeping up on people from downwind," Naruto teased, glancing at his companion. Sharuba bounded over to Tsumaru, and the two began tumbling together, play-fighting like only kids and animals could. "Still, it makes no sense," Kuraba admitted, rubbing his chin as if puzzling out a riddle. "You're the smartest in our class. You help me with lunch study sessions. How do you fail at?" He trailed off, searching for the right words. Naruto took a breath, deciding to see how much Kuraba could handle. "If I told you it had to do with an S-class secret, and that most people are not very clever about it, would you understand?" Kuraba's face would have perked like a dog's ears if he had them. Instead, he simply nodded slowly. "The Hokage set rules so kids who didn't remember wouldn't be told. That's why the adults treat me like." He managed a sad smile, while scanning Naruto's face for any sign of amusement or scorn. "So the fourth didn't kill the Kyuubi. You can't kill it, only seal it. Is that what you mean?" "So he didn't kill the demon, he sealed it." Naruto waited while the idea clicked. "Then why does that matter to you?" Naruto felt the urge to tell someone his age. He asked a different kind of question instead. "If you put a kunai into a scroll, does that make the scroll a kunai?" Kuraba cocked his head, frowning at the odd logic. "No, of course not, that's dumb." Then a light went on in his eyes. "He sealed the demon into you," Naruto let out a breath. "Yeah. Why would he do that instead of sealing it in a scroll or a jar or something?" "Because the thing has too much chakra," Naruto explained, shoulders dropping a fraction. "If you tried to seal that much power into a scroll, it would tear the seal. A baby's body can hold onto the chakra, pull on it enough so it stays weakened and contained." He looked up at Kuraba. "So you hate me now, don't you?" Kuraba blinked, almost offended at the suggestion. "No way, you're not some rampaging demon. You don't go around killing people. And honestly, that explains why you sometimes smell like a fox. I always thought it was because of Sharuba." He paused, then said with quiet certainty, "You're not the kitsune, you're the container." Naruto nearly wanted to hug him. "Thanks, that matters, having at least one friend who knows and doesn't treat me like I'm broken." The Inuzuka boy clapped Naruto on the shoulder, rummaging around for his usual rough affection. He gave Naruto a noogie. "Nah, it just means Tsumaru and I are going to train twice as hard so we can still beat you and your fox battery." He laughed. The Ninken barked in agreement. "Sharuba and I were thinking we'd practice together, try to come up with combos like your clan does," Naruto said. "We're not natural fighters like you, so it's slow going, but we figure things out. I can do the rest." The Inuzuka pair exchanged a look that matched a shared understanding. They'd seen Naruto move quicker, tougher, more flexible than them, but there was strength in him they hadn't seen in anyone else. Kitsune are usually sneaky, right? Genjutsu-type tricks instead of charging in, Kuraba offered aloud. If you could make a man-beast clone-style thing, that'd be useful. I can't teach you the clan's secrets, but maybe Mom or Tsume would. Tsume's the alpha, she'd know. Naruto considered genjutsu. He'd never had a reason to learn it before, but together with Sharuba it could be powerful, or at least interesting. A clone version of a Kitsune trick could change how they fought. Training would be necessary, but not impossible. Yeah, maybe. Thanks, Kuraba. Naruto's grin sharpened fox-like. Come on, Sharuba. We've got all summer to get better. Don't let those two win. Kuraba smirked and shook his fist. Oh yeah, Tsumaru and I will train twice as hard. Come spar with us sometime this summer. 2 months into the break, Naruto sat hunched over a scroll in his newly extravagant apartment, the place he'd turned into a workspace and a show of his odd tastes. He liked sealing things, probably too much. A few seals served as decoration, tucked into frames or rolled on shelves, but this afternoon he had his head down over a dense ring of characters and lines. He'd discovered a way to fold hand sign patterns into a permanent form, and now he was trying to make them trigger in variable orders, random combinations that could route chakra into new jutsu. 12 basic seals kept the math manageable, but complex techniques required repeats and permutations. He'd even thought about limiter seals like the ones used on flash tags. Still, the idea wasn't coming together. This is useless like this. He rolled the paper and tucked it onto the not-a-clue shelf, a graveyard for failed experiments where more than a few attempts had gathered dust. Naruto stretched, his back popping, then called his clones to dismiss them. He'd written a cheeky letter to the Hokage, complaining the apartment was too small. The Hokage had promptly bought the building and, in a fit of indulgence, let Naruto turn the top floor into a penthouse lab hybrid. He'd taught himself enough about construction with his clones to redesign the top floor. It wasn't perfect, but it was his. He checked on a few Kikai constructs in mechanical creatures he'd been trying to breed to handle his chakra signature. They still died off within a generation, but they adapted a little each time. It would probably take another year before they did much more than eat and reproduce. For now, the scrolls and experiments had his attention. He skimmed through teachings Jiraiya had left behind, then scrolled through the chakra patterns and memos his clones had gathered while he slept. At the second level of elemental manipulation, he grinned. This summer could be productive. He'd been refining a wind blade technique while maintaining a mist. The mist kept dispersing whenever the blade moved. He refused to accept that. Naruto shaped the air into a blade and felt how his chakra pushed outward. Then an idea hit: reverse the flow, make the wind cycle inward and compress. The blade grew denser, humming slightly. The sound was faint enough he could almost ignore it. He summoned the mist in the lab and reformed the air blade. The effect surprised him. The blade pulled the vapors inward and compressed them before thrusting them out the tip. He dismissed the experiments and called, "Sharuba, come." A streak of silver flashed through the doorway as the Kitsune arrived. "All right, what now? We're going to figure out how to teach you jutsu without seals," Naruto said, "because I can't get this damned scroll seal to work the way I want." Sharuba hopped up, tail flicking with interest. "I already figured out how your clone thing works. You stopped needing seals for it." He wrinkled his nose in imitation of a pout. "From what you made me read, all hand seals do is shape chakra into patterns. You use them as guides. The Cage Bunshin doesn't use actual seals either." Naruto listened as the fox explained his take. Sharuba could sense chakra and had been watching Naruto for months. "Mastered control, patterns. Manipulation," Naruto muttered, catching the words like hooks. An idea bloomed and his grin widened. "Sharuba, you're brilliant." The fox preened at the praise. "See, I'm way better than Ninkin. Cage Bunshin no jutsu." He concentrated and a small cloud of smoke curled up. When it cleared, a second silver fox sat where the first had been. Sharuba looked exhausted but triumphant. Naruto whirled, surprised by the jutsu being called out and by the familiar tug of chakra. He laughed. "How did you figure that out?" "I've watched you do it almost every day for a year, too, San," Sharuba replied, wagging his tail. "I can sense chakra. I mimicked the feeling. It takes longer than learning from seals, but if I remember the feeling, I can copy it. Naruto considered that. How much chakra do you have left? He asked. Sharuba blinked, honest. I could make one more, but I'd probably pass out. Naruto nodded. He knew how much even a small copy cost. Kitsune were no different in effort. Until you can make 3, I want you making one each day. A clone of mine will run through the seal patterns with you until you can feel them yourself. The real you will do chakra building, weights, tree exercises, water walking until you collapse. He smirked. Once you can do 3 clones, I'll give you every genjutsu scroll I can find. I'll focus on ninjutsu, you focus on genjutsu. We'll do taijutsu together. I study fuinjutsu, so maybe you can get Hanani to teach you some medical basics. Sharuba's eyes lit up, tail flicking faster. Naruto felt a satisfied hum in his chest. A plan, teammates, purpose. Training would be messy, exhausting, and probably a little dangerous, and that made it worth it. The fox's expression made it clear he was amused, even if he technically couldn't smile. So that means I can start practicing Raiten now too, right, Tusan? Sharuba asked eagerly. Naruto nodded, not seeing any problem with it. Most of the lightning-style techniques he had prepared were designed for quick strikes and paralyzing blows, perfect for someone like Sharuba. Week before the academy started, Naruto was lounging in Hana's office as she gave Sharuba a checkup. Her 3 ninkin were sprawled around, chattering quietly amongst themselves, and for a moment everything felt calm and ordinary. That calm broke when the door opened and an older woman stepped in. The second her scent reached them, Naruto and Sharuba stiffened. She radiated dominance, that of an alpha, an aura neither of them could put into words but could instinctively feel. Hana, what's going on here? Tsume's sharp tone cut through the air. Hana jolted and stood a little straighter. Tsume-sama, I was just finishing Sharuba's checkup for Naruto. Tsume's eyes flicked between Hana, Sharuba, and Naruto. Her nose wrinkled slightly. The room carried the thick scent of fox. For a second, she thought she'd heard more voices than should have been in the room. Who else is here? I know I heard talking when I walked by. Hana glanced at Naruto, who gave her a subtle nod. The ninkin had already learned to speak thanks to the sealwork Naruto developed. They'd adapted surprisingly fast, likely because they'd grown up hearing human speech, and because of the mental bond they shared with their partners. That was just the ninkin and Sharuba, Hana admitted, scratching the back of her head, a gesture she unconsciously copied from Naruto. He created a seal that lets Sharuba speak. I let him put the same seal on my partners too. Sensing Tsume's suspicion, Sharuba piped up, his tails flicking. Yeah, Tusan made it so I can talk just like him. He even gave Hana-chan's partners the same seal. Isn't that right? Tsume's eyebrows shot up as Sharuba's voice rang out. Her 3 ninkin quickly spoke up to back the story. Yeah, Naruto put the seals on us. It was strange at first, but kind of amazing. Now we understand humans even better. They spoke one after the other, almost like a chorus, unsettlingly in sync. Tsume studied the dogs, then Hana, then Sharuba before settling her sharp gaze on Naruto. Show me this seal. Without hesitation, Naruto unsealed a scroll, withdrew a seal tag, and offered it to her. It links their thoughts to their chakra and vocal cords, turning it into speech. It took months of practice before they got this fluent. They can still communicate the usual way, but this just makes things easier. I wanted to do something for Hana since she always helps me with Sharuba's health. Tsume wasn't easily impressed, but she wasn't ignorant either. While she wasn't a sealing master, she had studied enough to recognize certain patterns. The structure resembled some mind-linked seals she knew of, except this one tied the connection to the ninkin's own body and chakra. Why use chakra for this at all? Our ninkin can already learn to talk if they really want to. Naruto answered proudly. The chakra flow helps heal strain on their vocal cords and builds their reserves. It also sharpens control. That's how Sharuba started experimenting with jutsu. Tsume wanted to cling to her usual resentment toward the boy, the one carrying the fox, but the conversation disarmed her. He wasn't the demon, just a kid, and one who treated his fox like family. Begrudgingly, she admitted to herself that she'd fallen into the same blind hatred the rest of the village carried. Fine. You give my clan this seal, and in return Sharuba gets free care here. I'll also see if I can dig up some old jutsu we don't use anymore. But, she jabbed a finger at him, no one hears about this seal, or that my clan is giving you anything. Understood, pup? Naruto tilted his head submissively and smiled faintly. Yes, Tsume-sama, your clan will grow stronger with this. The village needs that, especially now that the Uchiha are gone. The gleam in his eyes didn't go unnoticed by Tsume. She wasn't about to mourn the Uchiha more than necessary, and if this gave her clan an advantage, she wasn't going to argue. Good. Next time you're here, I'll have something ready for you. Once she left, the room filled with relieved sighs. Naruto pulled out a stack of seals and handed them to Hana. Just make sure they're only used after the Ninken bond fully. That way it's safe. Year in the academy at 11, Naruto already stood taller than most of his classmates, his blonde hair longer now and tied back while his bangs framed his face. His outfit was practical, dark ANBU-style pants, flexible black sandals, and a sleeveless navy shirt over black mesh. A modified trench coat hung open, its Uzumaki crest painted blue across the back. Beside him, Shiruba sat like a sentinel, twin tails twitching, his head reaching Naruto's waist. This would be his final year at the academy, and Naruto couldn't be happier. Whether he passed or failed the exam, he was already officially recognized as a genin, though only in secret thanks to the Hokage. Still, he was curious. This year, Kiba of the Inuzuka and Shino of the Aburame would be joining his class, which meant potential allies. As students filed in, Naruto realized this was the heir class: Hyuga, Nara, Akimichi, Uchiha, Yamanaka, and others. Some civilian hopefuls mixed in as well, eager for glory. Naruto motioned for Shino to sit beside him. Shikamaru and Chouji soon joined them. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, he introduced. Already know Shino. Troublesome, Shikamaru muttered, gesturing lazily to the boy munching chips. I'm Shikamaru, that's Chouji. What's with the fox? Naruto smirked, glancing at Shiruba. He's my partner, like the Inuzuka have their hounds or the Aburame their insects. One of Shino's Kakachu crept along Naruto's arm before returning to its master. You're the one father spoke of, Shino said flatly. Naruto inclined his head in acknowledgement. It's overdue. I'll visit your clan soon. Perhaps you can take me after class. Shino gave a small nod. Their exchange caught Shikamaru's attention. He knew Shino well, and hearing him speak this much at once was unusual. He mentally filed it away, too lazy to ask about it now. The peace didn't last. Two girls, one blonde, one pink-haired, burst in and immediately started bickering over the empty seat beside Sasuke. Their screeching filled the room until Uruka and Mizuki entered. Quiet, Uruka barked. Sit down now or you're off the shinobi roster. Silence fell instantly. Today we'll be testing your skills. Written exam first, then practical evaluations in groups. Mizuki handed out the papers. Naruto scrawled nonsense answers across his sheet. He could see through the weak genjutsu layered over the test, pointless in his eyes. After class, Naruto walked alongside Shino, Shikamaru, and Chouji. Naruto, why were your assignments worded so differently and harder than ours? Shikamaru asked, frowning. Naruto exhaled softly. Because they hate me. Something happened on my birthday, 11 years ago. I had no control over it, but they blame me anyway. That was all he said, but Shikamaru was sharp enough to pick at the truth later. Shino already knew more than he let on, thanks to his Kakachu. Soon they reached a fork. This is where we split, Shino said. Naruto, if you still wish to see my father, come this way. Naruto nodded, parting ways with Shikamaru and Chouji before following Shino toward the Aburame compound. The settlement was simple, efficient, and sprawling, outer houses forming a quiet network. As they entered through the gate, Naruto felt the crawling weight of countless Kakachu swarming over them. It was no wonder visitors rarely came. The hive's defenses left no room for intruders. These two were allowed to move through the misty courtyard without interruption. Naruto stepped to the side, letting Shino take the lead since he had no idea where to go. Quietly, he trailed behind until they entered the Aburame household and finally stopped inside Shibai's office. The clan head sat at his desk, calmly reviewing some paperwork. Father, I've brought Uzumaki-san, Shino said evenly. His situation is unusual, and I believe you're the only one who can advise him properly. With a respectful bow, Shino quietly slipped out of the room. Naruto stood awkwardly as Shibai's gaze followed his son. The older man finally spoke, his voice calm and deep. So, Naruto, what is troubling you? I assume it has to do with the insects you carry. Taking a moment to gather his thoughts, the blonde finally answered. The hive you allowed me to bond with, it's reacting differently than expected. They struggle to adjust to my chakra. They survive long enough to reproduce, but strangely, their lifespan seems to be extending. I can feel their numbers slowly growing. His eyes met Shibai's. If you want, you can send one of yours to investigate. You'd probably understand it better than me. Shibai gave a brief nod and released one of his own kikai. While it connected with Naruto's insects, he spoke again. I should thank you for wearing the seal properly. Every clan member now receives it after birth, before they're given a hive. It stabilizes the connection. Still, your case is fascinating. Perhaps your chakra forced them to evolve. Moments later, the kikai returned to Shibai, crawling back into his body. He tilted his head slightly, as if listening to something only he could hear. It is as you described. But there's more. Rising slightly, he retrieved a scroll from a shelf and opened it. Part of the issue is that you were never given the full bonding technique. Normally, it ensures compatibility. Yet somehow, your hive seems to be forcing the bond naturally. That is rare, dangerous, even. Still, I can apply the jutsu now to strengthen them. Your hive should already be 30 times its current size. Naruto gave a small nod. Go ahead. Shibai moved his hands through several seals before pressing a glowing palm against Naruto. A surge of energy spread through the boy's body, and instantly the kikai inside stirred, buzzing frantically before gradually calming down again. This technique creates a protected environment within you, Shibai explained. It shields them from the full weight of your chakra so they can build properly. Though I am curious, what form have they taken after all this time? Naruto hesitated, then extended his arm. For the first time in years, one of the insects crawled out. Its body shimmered in deep purple, wings twitching as it stretched before flying over to Shibai's desk. Using a magnifying glass, Shibai carefully examined it. Purple carapace, reinforced pincers, a venom sac, clearly different from the original hive. This one appears to be a guard type. They've adapted to your chakra, but now they finally have stability to expand inside you. The insect quickly returned to Naruto's arm. The boy frowned slightly. Anything else I should know? I guess I should have come sooner, but I thought I could handle it myself. He felt the steady drain of his chakra being siphoned by the colony, stronger now than ever. Considering his chakra was denser and touched by the Kyuubi, he suspected they were feeding on that mix as well. Shibai seemed to read his expression. Don't use them until they're ready. A year should be enough for them to grow strong. Their breeding cycle is already faster than normal. When the time comes, I'd like a starter hive from you for study. Naruto nodded silently, resolving not to repeat the same mistake. The two continued to discuss details. How the hive might grow, what adjustments Naruto should expect, and even some of Naruto's personal plans for the stipend he received, mission pay, and the building he now owned. Time skip. Graduation day, the months crawled by in dull routine. Naruto spent his days pretending to be incompetent, deliberately holding back on tests and lectures. On paper, he was still the dead last of the academy. But privately, he continued training and studying. Today, though, would be the end of the act. Inside the exam room, Naruto easily performed the transformation and substitution techniques. Now came the bunshin, the one part he always failed. He suspected sabotage, likely Mizuki's doing, but today would confirm it. Remember, Naruto, Uruka said with concern, if you fail this again, you won't be allowed to become a shinobi. Naruto formed the seals slowly and produced several clones. The smoke cleared, revealing weak, half-dead versions of himself on the floor. Uruka's face fell. I'm sorry, Naruto, you fail. Mizuki immediately stepped in. Uruka, come on, maybe let him slide this once. No. The rules are the rules, Uruka interrupted firmly. Naruto clenched his fists but said nothing, walking out quietly and joining Shino's group. He sat next to Sharuba, giving the fox a quick wink. The plan was still in motion. When the announcements were over, Naruto left the academy with Sharuba feigning disappointment. Mizuki soon approached. Sorry you couldn't pass the normal way, Mizuki said smoothly. Naruto tilted his head. Normal way. You mean there's another test? Mizuki smirked. Yes, though it's not as easy, I doubt you'd succeed. Naruto put on a determined look. I'll try, just tell me what I have to do. Hokage's office. So Mizuki wants me to steal the forbidden scroll and meet him at the clearing by 9, Naruto explained. I figure if I actually show up with it, Shiruba and I can take him down. The Hokage leaned back, frowning as he thought it over. Mizuki's record had always been suspicious, and this confirmed it. Very well. I'll allow you to act as bait. You'll take the scroll at 7. 20 minutes later, I'll dispatch ANBU to support you. Do not engage if he isn't alone. Understood? Naruto straightened. Yes, Hokage-sama. Later that night, Naruto and Shiruba darted from the tower with the scroll strapped to his back, scattering clones across the village to mislead anyone tailing them. They reached the clearing within 20 minutes. Unrolling the scroll, Naruto skimmed through the techniques, ignoring cage bunshin and chakra threads in favor of others. Two stood out. One allowed temporary copying of another's bloodline. The second, the chakra shroud, formed a defensive code of energy at the cost of constant chakra drain. Both could be valuable, and he quickly memorized the sequences. He sent his clones into hiding and gestured for Shiruba to perch in a tree. Moments later, Mizuki appeared. Well done. Now hand it over, and I'll make sure you're promoted. Naruto grinned. You came alone. That was your first mistake. Hidden mist technique. A thick fog spread instantly, cloaking the area. He secured the scroll on his back. By the Hokage's order, you're under arrest for treason. Mizuki cursed, unable to see anything. You think fog will stop me? Naruto's voice echoed from every direction. It's not the fog you need to worry about. His clones burst from the mist, striking Mizuki's chakra points with precise blows, disrupting his pathways. From above, Shiruba's voice rang out. Lightning style. Fox shock tackle. Electricity surged as the small fox dove, the mist amplifying the current. Mizuki screamed before collapsing unconscious. The fog lifted. Naruto quickly bound Mizuki, adjusted his own headband, and fastened a small plate to Shiruba's collar. Slinging the traitor over his shoulder, he gave the fox the scroll. Together, they headed back toward the tower. Hokage's office / Naruto and Shiruba vaulted through the window, landing smoothly and pinning Mizuki to the floor near the old man's desk. Got him alive, Naruto said, glancing at Shiruba, who scurried over to hand the Hokage the scroll. Would you like a full report or just what's happened in the last few hours? Naruto asked. The Hokage's gaze swept over the unconscious, bound Chunin lying before his desk, then returned to the young boy who had accomplished it all with the help of his kitsune. No, Naruto, that won't be necessary. Given the potential consequences of what could have happened with the scroll, I've monitored the situation through my crystal, he said, gesturing toward the small orb resting on his desk. The traitor will be sent to Ibiki for questioning. But first, I want to know what jutsu you managed to learn from the scroll. I saw you use Kage Bunshin, though I assume you already knew that technique. Naruto nodded. I had some time to pick up chakra threads, he admitted, stretching the truth about how long he'd practiced that one. And I've memorized the hand signs for the chakra shroud. I think I could use it effectively for short bursts. Sarutobi detected no lies. Given the time it would take to master those techniques, they were only a small fraction of what could have been learned from the scroll. Those two shouldn't pose much of a challenge. I would advise, however, that you use the shroud sparingly. With your bloodline, the thread might become more of a weapon than just a skill. Naruto had already realized this but kept his tone neutral. Understood, I'll be careful. Is that all, Hokage-sama? Sarutobi's expression grew more serious. Unfortunately, there's one more thing. Hadake Kakashi has requested you specifically for his team. However, since he's the only Sharingan user in the village, that also means you'd be placed with Sasuke. Naruto's eye twitched at the mention of the Uchiha's name. I want my actual scores from your and Jiraiya's exams to determine my team placement, Naruto said firmly. That way I'm ranked fairly at the top and won't be forced onto a team with him. Having the two strongest genin together would be unfair. The Hokage gave a small, knowing smile. Telling Kakashi, however, would be another matter. Well, since you've been Rookie of the Year 4 years running, you'll likely end up on a team with yourself, Kiba, and Sakura's, though I doubt you'd keep her alive, he muttered. I won't break up Asuma's Inoshikacho team, but I can place you on Kurenai's team. With Shiruba on your side, it won't interfere with her team's dynamic. Kiba will go with Kakashi, leaving you with Shino and Hinata. Naruto considered it, slightly sympathetic toward Kiba, though he welcomed the rivalry with the Uchiha. He didn't know Kiba well but remembered their earlier competitive years. That'll work. Kiba's rivalry with Sasuke will push him, hopefully, into overexertion, he added quietly. Good. I'll inform the Jonin of their teams tomorrow. Here's your pay and a bonus for completing the mission, extra for bringing him in alive, Sarutobi said, handing over a generous envelope. This mission will also go on your record, though the duration won't be noted. Naruto's eyes brightened. A solo C-rank mission as a genin was a rare accomplishment. Oh, before you go, Jiji, why not use Kage Bunshin for paperwork? Naruto joked as he and Sharuba leapt back out the window, a sense of relief washing over him. No more acting, no more being underestimated, and no team with the Uchiha. Tonight, no training was needed. Jonin meeting. Next day Sarutobi surveyed the Jonin gathered in his office. Asuma, Kurenai, Hayate, and surprisingly, Kakashi on time, though that might be because he'd scheduled Kakashi at 9 am instead of 11. As you know, you'll be leading teams this year. Recent events, however, required adjustments due to newly revealed information. He let the suspense build. Clearing his throat, he addressed Kakashi. With that in mind, I must deny your request for Naruto Uzumaki. He handed the Jonin the updated student files, compiled with input from Jirtya and Ibiki. As you can see, he's Rookie of the Year. Stacking the teams would be unfair. Kakashi's eyes narrowed. Hokage-sama, you can't be serious. Kakashi, Sarutobi interrupted, voice firm. Naruto completed a solo C-rank mission last night, tracking and capturing a Chunin who stole the Forbidden Scroll. I trust our judgment more than a standard Chunin instructor. A hint of warning lingered in his tone. The other Jonin nodded. Kakashi, less impressed, muttered under his breath. Would he have managed it if he were ranked last? No. He requested years ago to never be paired with a Sharingan or an Uchiha. He remembers the fire-style attacks and Sharingan encounters from his childhood. Pairing him with Sasuke would lead to disaster. He wouldn't help, and might let him die. Sarutobi recalled Naruto's blunt words about the Uchiha. The only good Uchiha is a dead one, or Itachi, he quoted. Given that Itachi saved him before, we can predict which side he'd take. The gathered Jonin absorbed this quietly. Kurenai asked, then what are the teams? Team 7, Kiba and Yuzuka, Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha with Kakashi. Team 8, Shino Aburame, Hinata Hyuga, and Naruto Uzumaki under Kurenai. Team 10 remains the Ino Shikacho combo under Asuma. Team 11 will stay with Hayate. Sarutobi lit his pipe. Team assignments will be announced tomorrow at noon. Everyone filed out except Kakashi. Hokage-sama, please reconsider. Sarutobi fixed him with a steady gaze. Kakashi, Naruto would rather quit than be paired with an Uchiha. He wouldn't respect you, and your focus must remain on Sasuke. I won't risk him quitting, going rogue, or killing someone. That's final. /council chamber. In the dimly lit council chamber, Danzo and the elders reviewed Sarutobi's team assignments. Frowns shadowed their faces. Their attempts to control Naruto were failing. Hiruzen is treating the boy like a human. He should have been molded into the weapon he's meant to be, Danzo grumbled. Why hasn't he? The elders exchanged silent glances, aware of Naruto's true origins, a secret to everyone else. For now, his loyalty is sufficient, Hamaru replied. Pushing him could backfire catastrophically. Danzo's frustration simmered. Why not force him into obedience? Koharu sighed. Because of his parents, revealing that could destabilize the village. Right now, his loyalty to the Hokage is all we can rely on. Some secrets, if mishandled, can destroy more than a weapon ever could. Danzo's frown deepened, but he understood the veiled warning. And the seal. We still do not fully understand Minato's seal. It may have completely contained the demon. Should it fail, or should the boy die, the beast will return. That is our only certainty. Hamaru's words weighed heavily in the silent chamber. Koharu quickly understood the direction her former teammate was heading. Yes, that makes sense. We can't waste time keeping the Uchiha on just any team. Assign him to Kakashi. He's failed with every other group, and this way he'll have a more flexible schedule. She noticed Danzo following the line of thought with interest. The civilian girl, Hamaru continued. We can redirect her toward medical training. Her skills aren't impressive, but she learns quickly. As for the Inuzuka, we'll need to place him back under Kurenai, leaving the boy without a team. And what about the boy himself? Oh, he'll be teamless, but I'm certain if someone approaches him, he'll accept. Koharu's words sparked a visible reaction in Danzo, who was clearly thinking ahead. Even better, Danzo added with satisfaction, let's leave the teams as they originally were. Kakashi takes the Uchiha, the girl, and the boy. Records show the girl will follow Sasuke's lead blindly. Kakashi will focus on the Uchiha as instructed and out of loyalty to his fallen teammate. He laid out the new arrangement. As for the demon boy, he'll feel overlooked and frustrated. His dislike of the Uchiha makes him easier to influence, more likely to value guidance from someone willing to invest time in him. Hawkage's office, the elderly Hawkage sat behind his desk, seething, his killing intent radiating so strongly that even those nearby felt the weight. Through his crystal orb, he had been observing the elders' actions. While technically legal, their motives were far more sinister than any other he had encountered. He signaled an ANBU. Bring me Naruto now. The agent vanished, leaving the others trembling under the Hawkage's wrath. Soon, Naruto and Sharuba appeared in a swirl of leaves, immediately freezing under the sheer pressure of his aura. Gigi, what's going on? Naruto asked cautiously. The Hawkage quickly restrained his rage, keeping control of his desire to obliterate the elders, his rival, and even his former teammates. Sit, he commanded. The two complied. The elders have overruled my decision. You're being placed back on the team with Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura. A chill seemed to drop the temperature in the room. I promised this wouldn't happen, and I've failed you. Naruto's fury boiled over, chakra pooling visibly, causing the room to freeze. Fine, he said, voice icy. If it's their will to ruin the village's precious plans, so be it. But Gigi, I'm calling in that favor. I want to know who my parents were, and I want access to the Nidame's jutsu scrolls. I share his affinity, and I'm nearly done mastering its raw manipulation. The Hawkage had feared an emotional explosion, but he hadn't anticipated the cold, seething hatred pouring from Naruto. Yet his requests were not unreasonable. I'll get you the scrolls, Hiruzen said. A true Suiton master will help, but regarding your parents, Naruto's glare froze him mid-sentence. You owe me that. And this village owes me more for the way I've been treated. Either you comply or I leave. As an 11-year-old, his words carried extraordinary weight, and with his hidden skills, the Hawkage knew letting him walk away wasn't an option. Sighing, Hiruzen moved to the picture of the fourth Hawkage, sliding it aside to reveal a safe. He retrieved 3 scrolls. Your parents wrote these before they died. Your father knew his end was near, and your mother, she was always cautious. He handed 2 scrolls to Naruto, who ripped them open eagerly. Naruto read his mother's words first. If you are reading this, then your father and I have passed. You've grown, perhaps becoming a chunin or finding some way to have Hiruzen allow you access. I am Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. You may be the sole survivor of our clan after the Kyuubi attack. I was its host, sealed by our Uzukage. I pray you never encounter this demon or suffer as I did. I leave you with my love and 3 jutsu, 2 of my most powerful, and 1 to let you safely enter and exit Uzu should you choose. Know that I am always proud of you, my son. Opening the second scroll, his father's words were calmer but no less important. Naru-kun, I hope you've read your mother's first. I am Minato Namikaze, 4th Hawkage. Before I passed, I performed the sealing to leave the Kyuubi within you. I hope the village has honored you as the hero we intended. If not, you know what to do. I leave you my house, property, money, and a family secret. You are in Uzumaki and the last descendant of Taburama Senju. Namikaze was a civilian name. There is a test. In the Hawkage's office, smear your blood on the seal behind my picture. All will be revealed. Also, as current Hawkage, I recognize you as Tokubetsu Chunin. The small, energetic blonde grinned wildly, laughter bordering on unhinged. He ripped the picture off the wall, revealing the seal beneath. Biting his thumb, he smeared blood onto it. Slowly, a glowing family tree appeared, listing the entire Senju clan. Tsunade, Minato, and Naruto himself marked as alive. Well, he said, smirking at Hiruzen, looks like I'm related to 3 out of 4 Hawkages. Gigi, I want this announced tomorrow before teams. I am the Nidame heir. Hiruzen couldn't argue. It made perfect sense, and the evidence was undeniable. He placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder, guilt and relief weighing heavily on him. Not only had he failed Minato, but he had allowed the suffering of the boy's mentors and family to continue. The next day, on the village balcony, Naruto stood beside Hiruzen. "People of Konoha," Hiruzen began, "fate has revealed a young man's true lineage. Orphaned 11 years ago, his spirit never wavered. I present Naruto Senju Uzumaki, great-grandson of Tobirama Senju and son of Minato Senju Namikaze, our fourth Hokage." The villagers were stunned, some recalling their harsh treatment of the boy. Council members behind Hiruzen reevaluated his potential and their past mistakes. A few who had always believed in him smiled quietly. "For proof," Hiruzen continued, "here is the blood-sealed family tree of the Senju. Naruto would like to speak." Naruto stepped forward, voice steady and firm. "To those who antagonized me, spat on me, beat me, or shunned me, I despise you. But treat me with respect, and I will let the past remain where it belongs. To those who showed me kindness, thank you." He smiled at friends and allies. "Today, I join my first team as a ninja of this village, heir to Tobirama Senju. I will guide my teammate, the last Uchiha, to his rightful place." Hiruzen placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "As Hokage and student of the Senju brothers, I support Naruto's claim. The Senju clan lives on, and so does the will of fire." The crowd erupted in cheers. Some would come to accept it over time, some would wait and see, and others would resist. But a new chapter for Konoha had begun. Academy team assignments, the new genin sat in tense anticipation, waiting in the academy instead of attending the Hokage's gathering. They had no idea about the surprising revelations from the day. Naruto strolled in wearing his usual blue and black outfit, though now the Uzumaki swirl adorned his shoulders, and a black Senju emblem was proudly displayed on the back of his jacket. He walked alongside Sharuba to his usual spot, settling in with a mischievous grin, ready for the team announcements. Soon, Uruka entered, carrying the sealed scroll of team assignments. He paused, surveying the roomful of his former students. "Today is a bittersweet day for me," he began, "for I am no longer your sensei. But it is a bright day for you all, as you now step toward becoming true shinobi of this village." He opened the scroll and began to read the names. Teams were called out, most of them irrelevant to Naruto, who barely paid attention. Kiba and Yuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame will be Team 8 under Kurenai. Team 10 will be Shikamaru Nara, Chouji Akamichi, and Ino Yamanaka with Asuma. Team 7 will consist of Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha, and Naruto Senju with Kakashi as your sensei. A wave of reactions erupted. Some girls groaned at not being paired with Sasuke, others whispered in shock about Naruto's last name being Senju, not Uzumaki, and a few shouted about perceived injustices. "Enough!" Uruka barked. "Meet your sensei here at 1 p.m. You are dismissed." Naruto sat quietly, replaying the past day in his mind. His family secrets were staggering, yet the knowledge of the Kyuubi within his mother weighed heavier. Who had unleashed it? Why? And when it awakened, he would have his answers. His seal's overlays worked both ways, either slowing or accelerating the chakra flow. A headache pulsed through his skull as he felt his 300 clones dispel, each returning with information or training feedback. The room buzzed with their shared effort, though their physical forms were gone. Team Pickup, unlike the others, Naruto didn't leave the academy immediately. He lingered, letting rumors spread and villagers temper their children's behaviors, many of which they had unwittingly encouraged. Sharuba twitched in sleep, the two-tailed kitsune resting as Naruto's clones returned to him. It fascinated him how no one else seemed to use clones this way, though few possessed his chakra reserves and regenerative resilience to handle the mental strain. The other genin began filing in, some casting confused glances his way. The clan children seemed wary but understanding, except for one, Sasuke Uchiha, whose glare never wavered. Naruto ignored it. There was no need to rekindle old grudges yet, though he would not hesitate to put the boy in his proper place if necessary. One by one, the other jounin collected their teams until only Team 7 remained. Naruto tapped his foot impatiently, ignoring Sakura entirely. He had no intention of hiding who he was or what he knew. When the first person tried to mimic his skills, they would regret it. Finally, Kakashi arrived. "My first impression, I hate you," Kakashi said flatly. "Meet me on the roof." The clone dispersed. Sakura and Sasuke bolted ahead while Naruto and Sharuba flickered into position on the roof. Roof encounter. Kakashi froze, eyes widening as the blonde and the fox appeared in a swirl of leaves. He's even stronger than I was told, he thought. With the Hokage's briefing and the revelation of Naruto's heritage, Kakashi realized the boy could surpass expectations with or without guidance. A silent apology passed his mind. Moments later, Sasuke and Sakura arrived, breathless, taking seats and shooting daggers at Naruto. "All right," Naruto began, "let's get to know each other first. Then we'll see what this real test is about." Sakura piped up first. Kakashi-sensei, you go first." Kakashi flipped through his orange book. "I'm Kakashi Headache. There are things I like, things I don't, and dreams, well, we'll leave that for now." The team stared blankly, Sakura confused, Sasuke disinterested, and Naruto not paying attention at all. "Your turn, Pinky," Kakashi gestured toward Sakura. Sakura straightened. "I'm Sakura Haruno, I like," she glanced at Sasuke. "I dislike Naruto Baka, and my dream," another glance at Sasuke, accompanied by a giggle. Sweat beads formed across the rest of the group. Kakashi nodded to Sasuke. "Your turn." "I'm Sasuke Uchiha, likes, none, dislikes, traitors, dream, revenge for my clan's destruction." Naruto stood, refusing to wait. "I'm Naruto Senju Uzumaki. I inherit both clans. I like many things, but I despise those who don't earn their skills and merely steal them. My dream? I'll share it when you prove you're worth my trust." Sharuba yipped in agreement. Kakashi's mind raced. "I can't fail them, but Naruto won't work with Sasuke. Sasuke won't cooperate with anyone. And Sakura, she'll follow Sasuke." Naruto's sharp gaze had already acknowledged Kakashi's hidden abilities. "All right. Meet at Training Ground 7 tomorrow at 6 a.m. Naruto, stay back a moment." "Why, Kakashi? I have other things," Naruto said sharply. Kakashi ran a hand through his hair. "First, you're not a normal genin. Second, I served on your father's team. Third, officially I'm supposed to ignore you and train Sasuke." Naruto nodded knowingly. "So, options," Kakashi continued. "We make this work despite the odds." Naruto's eyes narrowed. "Are you always going to be late? Don't answer, I know the answer. I'll send a reinforced clone to training. I'll show up for missions. If you don't like it, adapt." With that, Naruto and Sharuba vanished, leaving Kakashi staring, unsettled, as if he had glimpsed a ghost. 3 months later, Naruto surveyed the familiar training field. "All right, Kit, show me what you've got." He smiled at Sharuba. "Hi," the Kitsune sprinted toward a training post. Kitsune style. Hydro shock. A glowing jet of water burst from his mouth, hitting the post. The ozone scent filled the air as electricity quickly vaporized the water. "Nice, wish I could merge my elements," Naruto muttered, shaking his head. 6 clones, try the prison field technique." Sharuba hesitated. "Tusan, only 4 clones possible." Naruto rubbed his chin, frowning, then laughed softly. "Right, forgot about that." He scratched the fox's silver fur. Shino appeared from down the road. "Naruto-san, my father asked me to deliver this scroll about Kakachu. It includes methods to control them." Naruto took the scroll. "I thought he said I shouldn't use them yet." "That's true," Shino replied. "But he thinks you're ready for training. Also, have you contacted your Hive Queen?" Naruto tilted his head. "I haven't, how?" A metallic voice echoed in his mind. "Focus your thoughts on me and I will receive them." "Easier than expected. Need anything else?" Naruto asked silently. "Not now, we're ready for combat. Some of your cycle are close to expiration. They will learn from the elder." Naruto nodded. "Looks like it's time to visit your father, Kit. Better understand them before taking them into battle." The faint hum of insects filled the air as he stepped into the study. "Aburame-sama," he greeted, bowing slightly to the man seated behind the desk. "Uzumaki-san," came the crisp reply. Shibai pushed the papers on his desk aside with practiced ease. "It appears the time has come, then." "Yes," Naruto responded. "My queen mentioned that my hive has developed differently from the original and requested your inspection to note the variations." He held out his hand, and 10 beetles scuttled across his palm before landing on the desk. "They're nearing the end of their cycle, so they won't need to be returned." Shibai carefully gathered them. "If you'll wait here, it shouldn't take long to compare them with our records." Rising from his chair, he left the room. "When he wakes, there'll be even more voices in your head," Sharuba remarked with a teasing grin. Naruto glanced down at the kitsune. Yes, and you're a talking kitsune. I suppose I've gotten used to strange things happening around me. Sticking his tongue out, Sharuba shot back. That's only because you made me capable of speech. True. You're welcome. Naruto winked, a faint smirk crossing his face. Oh, right. Sharuba, are you worried I'm going to replace you? Naruto asked, noticing the fox avert his gaze. That's not going to happen. He lifted the kitsune into his arms, carrying him back to his seat. They sat in companionable silence until Shibai returned, scrolls in hand. Your hive is truly remarkable, he said, taking his seat. This is a new species we're calling Akuma Kikeichu. Your unique chakra, combined with the use of that seal and the extended period without the bonding jutsu, allowed them to evolve faster than usual. Naruto nodded. So, what exactly are the differences? Clearing his throat, Shibai began. They still consume chakra like normal, but at a much higher rate, likely due to your bloodline. Additionally, they've developed a neurotoxin that affects motor control. He slid a scroll toward Naruto. Lastly, do you know your elemental affinities? Wind and water, Naruto answered. Shibai rubbed his chin. It seems we overlooked this detail. Because your hive spent a year attuning to your chakra before bonding, they've developed resistance to fire techniques from our clan and enhanced abilities from your elements, speed from wind and durability from water. Naruto absorbed the information, mentally relaying it to the queen, who confirmed his analysis. So, you're planning to change your clan's bonding rites, allowing hives to adapt for a year, performing bonding at age 4 after introducing the hive at 3, and applying the seal at birth. The elder nodded. Exactly. Your adjustments will help my clan adapt, evolve, and become stronger than any Aburame before us. The changes may not be as extreme as your own, but they'll make each individual unique and increase our overall efficiency. Naruto smiled faintly. I didn't realize it would have such a broad impact. Shibai's lips curved in a subtle smirk. One change can ripple into countless others. This scroll contains basic techniques for training with your hive, standard for all clan children. Compound 2 weeks later, Naruto sat in the veterinary office while Hana examined Sharuba, who was acting strangely and struggling with balance. A large scroll lay beside him, inked handwriting visible on its casing. You wanted to see me, Naruto? Tsume asked, stepping into the room. Actually, I wanted to give you something. Naruto lifted the heavy scroll. Catching it, she raised an eyebrow. And this is... It's a taijutsu variant I developed for use with a companion. Most of your ninkin are larger than Sharuba, but I think it can work like the academy drills, a stepping stone. It emphasizes precision and speed. Tsume carefully unrolled the scroll on the counter, scrutinizing its details. There are similarities to our Beast Fang style. It seems to demand a lot of focus. Naruto nodded. After training with Kiba and Hana, I noticed your clan tends to rush into fights. Not to offend, but at the genin level, neither the ninja nor their companions are fully developed. This style helps maintain calm and situational awareness. She made a small fist, relaxing it after a moment. True, our techniques can lose power if the users aren't focused, but this method improves maneuverability. Kids have found another way to grow stronger. Walking closer, she hugged him briefly. You're rare, Naruto. No matter your heritage, you carry their spirit in the way you teach and guide others. Naruto blushed slightly as Hana returned, Sharuba absent. Mom, Tsume smiled and nodded. I'll give you two some privacy. She left with the scroll. Naruto, Sharuba's fine. His bonding and chakra reserves are helping him grow faster than his body can naturally handle. His balance issues are due to developing a third tail. So he'll be okay? Smiling, Tsume nodded. Yes, but he needs a week of observation until his tail finishes growing and he adjusts. Also, she produced a small scroll from her vest. Kakashi-senpai dropped this by. He said it might help. Naruto caught it, smiling. Instructions for a summoning contract, I take it, she chuckled. The Hadate clan adapted their ninkin for summoning, though it changed them a bit. By the way, a large shadow appeared in the doorway. A one-eyed hound entered. Naruto-san, I think these 4 should be left to your care. The hound lowered a basket, revealing 4 tiny fox kits. Their mother's scent is barely present. They haven't eaten in a week. Hana's hands glowed green as she examined them. Take care of them with Sharuba. They'll recover once fed and healed. I'll prepare the seals I gave Sharuba, they'll be strong enough. I'll handle it, Naruto said, serious. Month later, Naruto sat at his table, 3 sets of seals and an elaborate scroll before him, the ink still drying with a faint red hue. Sharuba, he called. The silver 3-tailed fox emerged with the 4 kits in tow. Yes, Tusan. Have you finished bonding with them? Of course, Sharuba replied, tilting his head. But why did you want me to? Naruto smiled. I shared a portion of Kyubai's chakra through you to make them kitsune bound under you. He gestured to the scroll. It's ready. We just need to activate it and sign the contract. 1 kit hesitated. Adusan why us? Naruto's brow raised. Guess I won't need these seals. A smirk spread across his face. It must be the potency of my chakra combined with Kyubai's, reinforced by the seals I provided. He stroked their heads. I made a summoning contract. Sharuba, you'll be the main summon. The kits will learn from you. Let's see how it goes. Sharuba placed his tails on the sealing array. Naruto mirrored him. Both glowed with bright chakra, infusing the scroll. Golden light surged around the kits, embedding the seal into them. Naruto felt the red chakra surge through him as the scroll absorbed it, leaving him drained. He collapsed, the array now fully integrated into the contract, ready for future names to be added. A shaking sensation woke him on the floor. My head. Ma, what happened? Opening one blue eye, he recognized his sensei. Why, you haven't sent a clone today or yesterday? He shrugged. I was starting to get worried. 2 days, Naruto shot up, clutching his head. I never go that long, what? Kakashi helped him settle into a chair, his single eye catching the scroll still open in front of Naruto. His eye widened as he saw it, and he let out a low whistle. You made a summoning scroll, he said, chuckling. That explains a lot. Explains what? Let me guess, you poured all your chakra into this, didn't you? Naruto could only nod, remembering the rush of red chakra. I even tapped into my other reserve. He can't mean the Kyuubi. Naruto shook the thought away. Well, you might want to sign it, Kakashi said, explaining the process. It's more like one of the big 3 contracts than mine, but you can manage it. Biting his left thumb, Naruto wrote his full name and pressed his fingerprints next to it. So, should we do this here? I know the perfect spot. Kakashi placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder, and they vanished, appearing in a forest clearing. I can tell you followed my directions, but you added a lot I don't recognize. It's safer this way, in case the changes cause complications. Naruto nodded, biting his thumb again as he formed the hand seals. Summoning Jutsu, Sharuba! He slammed his hand into the ground, and a golden seal spread out beneath him. Smoke swirled, then cleared to reveal a horse-sized silver kitsune, 3 tails twisting behind it, a golden Uzumaki spiral marking its forehead. Wow, Naruto, is that you on my back? The kitsune rumbled in a deep voice. Sharuba, Naruto asked, mounting the creature. His eyes had shifted to a deep red, reminiscent of the Kyuubi from years ago. Yeah, there was a kitsune contract before, though it was destroyed long ago, but why did you wait 3 months to summon me? Both humans paused. 3 months? Naruto shook his head. It's only been 2 days, wait, this is a space-time jutsu. If the old contract still exists, its realm might affect time differently. He trailed off, rambling. A tail flicked out, knocking him down. Seriously, anyway, when we arrived, something must have triggered me being covered in red and golden chakra, connecting me to the other kitsune. Technically, I'm the boss now because of the new contract, but I'm still on the lower end. The elders have agreed to train me after seeing what happened. He gestured to the seals on him. How long will that take? Kakashi's curiosity piqued. Mentally, he was already noting this for the Hokage. A true summoning contract, remade, it didn't happen often. Shirato-sama said if I prove as skilled as my first teacher, 2 years should be enough. Still, I'll be weaker than some of the others. Naruto nodded, calculating in his head. Well, if the time difference stays the same. Ma, it doesn't quite work like that, Sharuba replied. What do you mean? Jiraiya-sama has the Toad contract. Their home shifts time differently. An hour there could be a day here, or a day there could be months here, the kitsune explained. Sighing, Sharuba continued, the elders and I will just reverse summon you once my training is done. They want to meet you. His gaze drifted to the Kyuubi's seal on Naruto. A sad smile crossed Naruto's face. I'm going to miss you, buddy. He hugged Sharuba's neck tightly. Me too, Tusan. But look on the bright side, I'm a true summon now. If I get hurt, I can just dispel. And I'll make sure all the summons learn our fighting style so you won't have to worry. Take care of yourself and I won't have to worry either. I need to go now. Wiping a tear, Naruto chuckled. I'll just have to get stronger so you don't slack off. Shiruba nodded and vanished in a cloud of smoke. Naruto, I suggest, and I'm not telling you what to do, to hold off on using your summons until Shiruba finishes his training, Kakashi said softly. Naruto nodded. Yeah, you're right. I guess I'll start coming to meetings as myself too. The elder Jonin's visible eye crinkled in approval. Good, then we can try a C-rank mission now. Why now? Naruto asked, raising a brow. I wasn't going to send the team on one until you felt ready. I know you remember everything, and Sasuke and Sakura are starting to change. I'll expect you to respect my wishes if Sasuke awakens the Sharingan. Not all my jutsu can be copied, but the ones I've worked for, Kakashi nodded. The eye copies jutsu, but never intentionally. What about seal-less or one-handed seals? Shaking his head, Kakashi replied, no seals, no copying. And single-handed seals only work if you know the technique, which neither you nor Sasuke do, so it won't register. Good. Naruto, I owe you some explanations. Kakashi shared stories of his time on Naruto's father's team and his personal life until the sun was setting and their stomachs reminded them that food couldn't wait. Naruto had listened stoically at first, then slowly, understanding, and even respect crept onto his expression. I think I get it. If I'd lived then, I'd probably be trying to kill half the village. But I'll give Sasuke a chance, though I won't fight him against Itachi. I owe him too much. Kakashi smiled, proud if not happy. Your parents would be proud, I know I am. I won't hold it against you if things come to that. That's the best I can do. See you tomorrow, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto waved and ran off through the trees. The next morning, Naruto arrived at the training ground, where his clone had spent the last 4 months training with the team. Hands in his trench coat pockets, a faint smirk on his lips, his blue eyes swept over the others. Sakura looked weak, disappointing him. Sasuke, arrogant as ever, still bore the weight of his clan's history. Pathetic, Naruto muttered, spitting on the ground as he sensed the incoming Shunshin. Kakashi arrived in a flurry of leaves. Yo, you, Sakura started to scream, only for Naruto's fist to land on her head. Shut up, he snarled. Unless you can turn that banshee wail into an actual jutsu, keep it quiet. The faint hum of chakra buzzed in the air. He looked to Kakashi. Mission, the Jonin wiped sweat from his brow. Ma, come on, I think you're ready for a C-rank. The team nodded, except Sakura holding her head in pain. Naruto stayed at the back, eyes never leaving Sasuke. Entering the Hokage's office, Naruto smirked at the old man. Hokage-sama, Hiruzen twitched. Naruto was only formal when he wanted something, which meant this was truly Naruto, and Sasuke was still breathing. Naruto-kun, Team 7. Naruto tossed a letter from his father onto the Hokage's desk. You might want to read this before Kakashi-sensei assigns a mission. Confused looks passed between everyone. The old Sarutobi opened the letter, reading with a sad smile that turned into a chuckle. I see, far be it from me to override the decision of the Hokage. Aren't you the Hokage? Kakashi asked. Of course, but there have been 3 others, Hiruzen replied. Pulling a scroll from his desk, he unsealed it and tossed Naruto a flak jacket. Congratulations, Naruto, on your promotion to Tokubetsu Chunin. Slipping the jacket on under his trench coat, Naruto smirked. Thanks, Jiji, Sasuke fumed. Why does the Dobi get promoted? I'm an elite Uchiha, Kakashi and Hiruzen understood. Sneaky and underhanded, Hiruzen said. You're a genin, Sasuke-kun. Naruto is the son of the 4th Hokage and related to the 1st and 2nd. By clan alone, he outranks you in the village. The Uzumaki lineage also outshines yours. A small hint of threat lingered in his words. Naruto simply smirked. The Uchiha were always second to the Senju, fair enough that you learn your place. Sasuke lunged, but was caught by Kakashi, though not before a slash grazed his cheek. Purple chakra extended from Naruto's hands like whip-like cables. Chakra lash successful. The energy retracted, his blue eyes assessing the lines bleeding just below Sasuke's eyes. Looks like my aim's still off, your eyes are intact. The room grew tense as the Hokage rose, his presence commanding the space. Enough, he barked, slamming his fist on the desk. I didn't want to take this step, but Team 7 is disbanded. Sakura Haruno, your performance since graduation leaves me no choice. You are removed from the shinobi program. He grabbed her headband from her neck. Sasuke Uchiha, he continued, his voice cutting. Your evaluations are even more troubling: arrogance, failure to follow orders, inability to cooperate, and your obsession with vengeance. You're emotionally unstable. You're being placed in a rehabilitation program until a clean psychological assessment is completed. He snapped his fingers, and two ANBU appeared, taking Sasuke away in an instant. Naruto ticked off today's list mentally. Me Hokage-sama, the old man exhaled, weary. Your skills are too valuable to lose, and you've made your intentions clear over the years, but currently there's no open team for you. Kakashi cleared his throat. Hokage-sama, I Kakashi Hadake, formally request to take Naruto Uzumaki as my apprentice. Both men turned to him. The Hokage picked up his pipe. On what grounds? Being the only surviving member of Minato Namikaze's team, Kakashi explained, I have detailed knowledge of his jutsu and fighting methods. Naruto shows potential I can help refine. Naruto didn't smile, but after their heartfelt conversation the previous night, he wasn't surprised to see Kakashi finally take responsibility seriously. I'll agree, but only if you allow me to place a seal on your Sharingan. Hiruzen's eyes narrowed. You intended this for Sasuke, didn't you? Kakashi nodded. It's activated by a hand seal, letting just enough chakra enter the eye for the Sharingan to form. But if anyone tries to override it or remove it without my blood and chakra, the eye locks permanently. It's fail-safe. The Hokage lowered his head, sighing. The boy is serious, and his seals prove it. Kakashi, do you accept? Kakashi's face was resolute. Yes. It drains chakra, but mastering it will be invaluable. Naruto retrieved brush and ink. Then let's begin. He lifted Kakashi's headband, revealing the Sharingan and the scars around it. With careful movements, he sketched a seal covering the right side of Kakashi's face. Touching the edges, he murmured, Elemental seal, controlling force, sending chakra through the markings. The design glowed and contracted, leaving a spiral encircling Kakashi's eye. Kakashi blinked, feeling the constant chakra drain vanish. It worked. Of course it did. Naruto demonstrated a hand seal. One-handed dragon seal. Activating or deactivating the eye takes about as much chakra as a substitution. The Hokage observed as Kakashi tried the seal himself. Minutes passed before his Sharingan flared red, the spiral glowing alongside it. Satisfied, he resealed it, the eye returning to its natural black. A hawk's cry drew their attention, dropping a scroll on the desk. Hiruzen grabbed it, scanning it quickly. Kakashi, Naruto, Team 26 needs backup. They ran into Zabuza Mamachi on a C-rank mission near Wave. Naruto's eyes lit up. Kuraba's team. He glanced at Kakashi. Pack your things. Meet me at the south gate in 20 minutes. Naruto vanished instantly. Kakashi turned to Hiruzen. What else? 20 minutes later, the pair moved swiftly toward Wave, leaping from tree to tree. If we push ourselves, we could reach them in a day, Kakashi estimated. Naruto shook his head. 2 days. We'll conserve our energy. They're probably in bad shape already. They're exhausted and injured. Shiro's chakra is depleted, one in Yuzuka has a fractured leg, and the others are cut up badly, Kakashi confirmed as they blurred toward their destination. Bridge Builder's house landing gracefully, Naruto immediately noticed the large white-and-tan dog. Tsumaru, where's that flea-bitten companion of yours? The dog perked up. Naruto-san. It sniffed him over. Kuraba's resting, broke his leg. Kakashi froze. He can talk. Naruto ignored him, kneeling to speak to Tsumaru. Me and Kakashi are here to help, but Kuraba's leg will take time to heal. I'll keep watch, the dog said. You need rest too, Naruto replied, arms outstretched as 2 columns of kikai spread across the property. He tossed Tsumaru a treat. Good work, boy. Tsumaru performed a small circle before settling on the porch. Thank you, Naruto-san, you're a worthy beta. Naruto smiled. Sharuba isn't here, but we'll train together when the time comes. The door opened to a woman with shoulder-length brown hair. You must be the reinforcements Shiro sent. Kakashi introduced them, and Naruto gave a small nod. The woman led them inside, where breakfast awaited. Naruto checked on the least injured members, healing cuts and bruises. Breakfast is ready. Kakashi wants the details, he called, waking them. He approached Kuraba, whose leg was just wrapped. Better than nothing, Naruto muttered, carefully setting a splint. Kuraba winced, but Naruto soothed him with a numbing jutsu. I guess they sent you, where's your excuse for Rinnegan? Kuraba joked. He's training. I made a summoning contract and Koromaru helped, Naruto explained. It's complicated, but Sharuba's going to be the new leader because my contract overrode the old one. A rough hand patted his shoulder. At least he's not gone. Right, Naruto said, adjusting his focus on the leg. Tsumaru thinks I'm your beta too, Kuraba blushed. Oh well, Naruto smirked. Flattered Kira. We'll talk when we get back. He left to check on Shiro, leaning against the door. What just happened? He wondered, heart flustered. Shiro lay propped up with an orange book. Team 7? Not anymore. It's just Kakashi and me now, Naruto said, scanning Shiro's body. Your injuries are healing nicely, 3 of these a day for chakra stimulation. Kuraba needs 2 weeks off his leg. 3 days later, Shiro's team trained under Naruto's guidance. Work on feeling your element through the leaf. Water draws from the air, fire pushes against it until balanced, he instructed. Kakashi nodded approvingly. That's the most efficient way. What about Kuraba? He's not learning this, one girl asked. Kuraba already knows his natural element. He'll learn his second with you too, Naruto replied. A teammate protested. Naruto appeared instantly in front of him, hand on his throat. Kuraba is not an idiot. I helped him with air manipulation before. Kakashi's voice echoed. Naruto, he nodded and released the boy, reappearing calmly. Sorry, sensei, Kakashi smiled. You too get to work. Dinner will tell if you're pushing hard enough. He and Naruto then sparred, Kakashi foregoing the Sharingan and Naruto without seals. The fight was fierce, water rippling violently with every clash. Naruto unleashed a massive technique. Uzumaki, wave of 1,000 crashes. Water churned, chakra glowing as a vortex overwhelmed Kakashi. Uzumaki, whirlpool devastation. Kakashi staggered to the shore, impressed. Your taijutsu's solid and your chakra whip's clever. But you're still too young to fully master that style. Naruto winced, holding his ribs. Some hits would have ended me if not for my chakra reserves. I'll make it up to you, Kakashi said, yawning. Tomorrow, I'll teach you 2 jutsu from your parents, the Rasengan and Chakra Saber. They're difficult, but your skills with chakra strings should help. Naruto's eyes glimmered. I'll be ready.